Moriwanji, Tiribuino Kaino. I was born in a village in Malawi, 6 hours from the city. My dad left before I was born, and my mom was planning to raise me on her own. My mom was out in the field harvesting maize when it was time for me to be born. She couldn't make it to the clinic, so the people of the village tried to help. Shortly after I was born, my mother had significant complications. The people of the village tried to stop the bleeding, but there was no chance for her to survive. Sindina Kumane Nai. My great-grandmother took me in and started to take care of me. She couldn't work because she was 91 years old, and her body would not allow her to farm. She tried her best to provide for me, but she couldn't afford formula. She tried to feed me tea, but that only made matters worse. One day, my granny heard about a program that helped orphan babies. She walked 4 miles carrying me on her back to a feeding center where they assessed my nutrition status and determined that I was severely malnourished. The workers at the feeding center provided my granny with formula and educated her on how to make a bottle and feed me. I hear stories to this day of the many kids who did not have the same access to nutrition that I did. They are no longer here, and I am. Slowly, I began to grow and gain weight. 1 pound after the other, I got stronger. At 2 years old, I graduated from the formula program. The staff from the feeding center stayed in contact with my granny and I. They encouraged her to help me get a good education. You see, my granny didn't feel the need to send me to the nice school. She wanted me to remain in the village and go to the village school for a couple of years before learning how to farm like every other person in my family. The problem was farming wasn't consistent. One year my family would plant seeds and the rain would come and we would see a great harvest. The next season, however, would be a different story. The rain would be inconsistent and the harvest would not be sufficient. My granny finally opened up to the idea of me getting an education and leaving the village. The workers from the feeding center arranged for me to go to a private Christian boarding school. I didn't like it at first. I felt intimidated by it. Kids were smart, well-educated, and had parents that could provide for their every need. Where I come from, we lived day to day. There was no access, there was no safety net, and there was no guarantee there would be food on your table the next day. You ran around and played barefoot in the fields. You wore the same clothes until they fell off of you. But at boarding schools, I had every material thing I needed. But I worked hard. I wasn't going to let my granny down, and I wanted to do this for her. I studied and studied. Soon, I found myself at the top of my class. I was defying the odds. I graduated from secondary school. Only 8% of children in Malawi graduate from high school. I did it. At the top of my class, I did it.